If you not subscribed, please subscribe the channel and click the bell button for more videos. Teacher. Hello students. Welcome back. Today we are going to study a very important human physiology chapter, breathing and exchange of gases. Student. Sir, breathing looks very simple. We just inhale and exhale. Is there really so much biology inside it? Teacher. Exactly. That is the beauty of biology. Every second, your body takes in oxygen, sends it to each cell, removes carbon dioxide, and keeps you alive without you even thinking about it. Student. So today we will learn how air enters the lungs, how oxygen enters blood, how carbon dioxide comes out, and how the brain controls breathing. Teacher. Perfect. By the end of this class, you will understand respiratory organs, mechanism of breathing, gas exchange, transport of gases, regulation of respiration, and respiratory disorders. Full teacher explanation in easy English. 1. Why do we breathe? Our body cells need oxygen to break down food and release energy. This process produces carbon dioxide, which must be removed from the body. So breathing means oxygen enters the body. Carbon dioxide leaves the body. Real life example. When you run fast, your muscles need more energy. So your cells need more oxygen. That is why you breathe faster. 2. Respiratory organs in different animals. Different animals breathe in different ways. Sponges, coelenterate and flatworms exchange gases through their body surface by simple diffusion. Earthworms breathe through moist skin. Insects use tracheal tubes. Aquatic animals like fishes use gills. Terrestrial animals like humans use lungs. Frogs can breathe through lungs and also through moist skin. Student question. Sir, why can't humans breathe through skin like frogs? Teacher answer. Because human skin is thick, dry, and not suitable for gas exchange. Frog skin is thin and moist, so gases can diffuse through it. 3. Human respiratory system. Air travels through this path. External nostrils rightward arrow, nasal chamber rightward arrow, pharynx rightward arrow, larynx rightward arrow, trachea rightward arrow, bronchi rightward arrow, bronchioles rightward arrow, alveoli. The larynx is called the sound box because it helps in sound production. The epiglottis prevents food from entering the windpipe during swallowing. The trachea divides into right and left bronchi. Bronchi divide into smaller bronchioles. Finally, bronchioles end in tiny air sacs called alveoli. Alveoli are the main site of gas exchange. Real life example. Think of the respiratory system like a tree. The trachea is the trunk, bronchi are big branches, bronchioles are small branches, and alveoli are tiny leaves where actual exchange happens. 4. Conducting part and exchange part. The respiratory system has two main parts. Conducting part. From nostrils to terminal bronchioles. It carries air, filters dust, warms air, and humidifies air. Exchange part. Alveoli and alveolar ducts. This is where oxygen and carbon dioxide are exchanged. Student question. Why does gas exchange happen only in alveoli? Teacher answer. Because alveoli have very thin walls, rich blood supply, large surface area and moist surface. These features make diffusion easy. 5. Mechanism of breathing. Breathing has two stages. Inspiration, air enters lungs. Expiration, air leaves lungs. During inspiration, the diaphragm contracts and moves downward. External intercostal muscles lift ribs and sternum upward and outward. This increases thoracic volume. Lung pressure becomes lower than atmospheric pressure, so air enters. During expiration, diaphragm relaxes and becomes dome-shaped again. Ribs and sternum return to normal position. Thoracic volume decreases. Lung pressure becomes higher than atmospheric pressure, so air goes out. Real life example. Think of a syringe. When you pull the piston, space increases, and air enters. When you push the piston, space decreases, and air comes out. Lungs work with a similar pressure idea. 6 respiratory volumes and capacities. Important values. Tidal volume. Air inspired or expired during normal breathing. About 500 ml. Inspiratory reserve volume. Extra air inhaled forcefully after normal inspiration. About 2500 to 3000 ml. Expiratory reserve volume. Extra air exhaled forcefully after normal expiration. About 1000 to 1100 ml. Residual volume. Air remaining in lungs even after forceful expiration. About 1100 to 1200 ml. Vital capacity. Maximum air a person can breathe out after forceful inspiration. Total lung capacity. Total volume of air in lungs after maximum inspiration. Student question. Why is residual volume important? Teacher answer. It prevents the lungs from collapsing completely and allows continuous gas exchange even between breaths. 7. Exchange of gases. Gas exchange happens by simple diffusion. Oxygen moves from alveoli to blood because oxygen pressure is higher in alveoli than in deoxygenated blood. Carbon dioxide moves from blood to alveoli because carbon dioxide pressure is higher in blood than in alveoli. The exchange depends on pressure gradient, solubility of gases, thickness of membrane. Carbon dioxide is 20 to 25 times more soluble than oxygen, so it diffuses more easily. Real-life example. If you spray perfume in one corner of a room, it spreads from high concentration to low concentration. Gas exchange also follows a gradient. 8. Transport of oxygen. About 97% oxygen is transported by RBCs using hemoglobin. Around 3% oxygen is dissolved in plasma. Hemoglobin combines with oxygen to form oxyhemoglobin. One hemoglobin molecule can carry 4 oxygen molecules. In lungs. High oxygen, low carbon dioxide rightward arrow oxygen binds with hemoglobin. In tissues. Low oxygen, high carbon dioxide, high hydrogen ions and high temperature rightward arrow oxygen is released. Student question. Why do active muscles get more oxygen? Teacher answer. Active muscles produce more carbon dioxide, more hydrogen ions and more heat. These conditions make hemoglobin release oxygen easily. 9. Oxygen dissociation curve. When percentage saturation of hemoglobin is plotted against partial pressure of oxygen, we get a sigmoid curve. This curve shows how hemoglobin loads oxygen in lungs and unloads oxygen in tissues. Simple memory. Lungs equals oxygen loading station. Tissues equals oxygen unloading station. 10. Transport of carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is transported in 3 ways. About 70% as bicarbonate ions. About 20 to 25% as carbaminohemoglobin. About 7% dissolved in plasma. In tissues, carbon dioxide enters blood and forms bicarbonate with the help of carbonic anhydrase enzyme. In alveoli, bicarbonate changes back to carbon dioxide and comes out during expiration. Real-life example. Think of carbon dioxide as a passenger. Most passengers travel in a big bus called bicarbonate. Some travel in hemoglobin cars. A few travel directly in plasma. 11. Regulation of respiration. Breathing is controlled by the brain. The respiratory rhythm center is present in the medulla. The pneumotaxic center is present in the pons and can reduce the duration of inspiration. Chemosensitive areas detect increase in carbon dioxide and hydrogen ions. When CO2 increases, breathing rate increases. Important point. Carbon dioxide has a stronger role than oxygen in controlling normal breathing rhythm. Real-life example. When you hold your breath, carbon dioxide increases in blood. Your brain detects this and forces you to breathe. 12. Disorders of respiratory system. Asthma. Difficulty in breathing with wheezing due to inflammation of bronchi and bronchioles. Emphysema. Alveolar walls are damaged. Respiratory surface decreases. Cigarette smoking is a major cause. Occupational respiratory disorders. People working in stone-breaking or grinding industries may inhale dust for long periods. This can cause lung inflammation and fibrosis. Workers should wear protective masks. Important question and answer section. Q1. What is breathing? Breathing is the process by which oxygen-rich air is taken into the lungs and carbon dioxide-rich air is released out. Q2. What are alveoli? Alveoli are tiny thin-walled air sacs in the lungs where exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide takes place. Q3. Why is epiglottis important? Epiglottis prevents food from entering the larynx and trachea during swallowing. Q4. What is inspiration? Inspiration is the process of taking air into the lungs. It occurs when thoracic volume increases and lung pressure decreases. Q5. What is expiration? Expiration is the process of releasing air from the lungs. It occurs when thoracic volume decreases and lung pressure increases. Q6. What is tidal volume? Tidal volume is the volume of air inspired or expired during normal breathing. It is about 500 ml. Q7. What is vital capacity? Vital capacity is the maximum volume of air a person can breathe out after a forceful inspiration. Q8. Why does diffusion occur in alveoli? Because alveoli have thin walls, large surface area, rich blood supply and favorable pressure gradients. Q9. How is oxygen transported in blood? About 97% oxygen is transported by hemoglobin in RBCs as oxyhemoglobin. About 3% is dissolved in plasma. Q10. How is carbon dioxide transported? About 70% carbon dioxide is transported as bicarbonate ions, 20 to 25% as carbaminohemoglobin, and 7% dissolved in plasma. Q11. What is oxygen dissociation curve? It is a sigmoid curve showing the relationship between partial pressure of oxygen and percentage saturation of hemoglobin with oxygen. Q12. What controls respiration? Respiration is mainly controlled by the respiratory rhythm center in the medulla region of the brain. Q13. What is asthma? Asthma is a breathing difficulty with wheezing caused by inflammation of bronchi and bronchioles. Q14. What is emphysema? Emphysema is a chronic disorder where alveolar walls are damaged, reducing respiratory surface. Smoking is a major cause.
Tamil story narration for easy understanding. ஒரு நாள் அருண் என்ற மாணவன் பள்ளி விளையாட்டு மைதானத்தில் ஓடிக்கொண்டிருந்தான். சிறிது நேரத்தில் அவனுக்கு மூச்சு வேகமாக வர ஆரம்பித்தது. அவன் ஆசிரியரிடம் கேட்டான், சார், நான் ஏன் ஓடும்போது வேகமாக மூச்சு விடுகிறேன்? ஆசிரியர் சிரித்துக்கொண்டு சொன்னார், அருண், நீ ஓடும்போது உன் தசைகளுக்கு அதிக சக்தி தேவைப்படுகிறது. அந்த சக்தியை உருவாக்க உன் உடல் செல்களுக்கு அதிக ஆக்சிஜன் வேண்டும். அதனால் நுரையீரல் வேகமாக காற்றை உள்ளே எடுத்துக்கொள்கிறது. அருண் மீண்டும் கேட்டான்,
அப்போ கார்பன் டை ஆக்சைடு என்ன ஆகும்?
ஆசிரியர் சொன்னார், உன் செல்கள் சக்தி உருவாக்கும் போது கார்பன் டை ஆக்சைடு உருவாகும். அது உடலுக்கு தேவையில்லாத கழிவு வாயு. அதனால் இரத்தம் அதை நுரையீரலுக்கு கொண்டு வந்து மூச்சு வெளியே விடும்போது வெளியேற்றுகிறது. ஆசிரியர் ஒரு மரத்தை காட்டி விளக்கினார்.
நம் சுவாச அமைப்பு ஒரு மரம் மாதிரி திரட்சிய, மரத்தின் தண்டு மாதிரி பிரோஞ்சி, பெரிய கிளைகள் மாதிரி பிரோங்கியோலஸ், சிறிய கிளைகள் மாதிரி அல்வியோலி, இலைகள் மாதிரி. உண்மையான வாயு பரிமாற்றம் அல்வியோலில் தான் நடக்கும்.
அருண் கேட்டான்,
சார், மூச்சை யார் கட்டுப்படுத்துகிறது?
ஆசிரியர் சொன்னார், நம் மூளையில் மெதுல்லா என்ற பகுதி ரெஸ்பிரட்டோரி ரிதம் சென்டராக வேலை செய்கிறது. இரத்தத்தை CO2 அதிகமானால் மூளை உடனே சிக்னல் அனுப்பி மூச்சை வேகமாக்கும்.
அருண் புரிந்து கொண்டான்.
அப்படின்னா பிரீதிங் என்பது காற்றை உள்ளே வெளியே விடுவது மட்டும் இல்ல, அது ஆக்சிஜன் டெலிவரி சிஸ்டம் மற்றும் கார்பன் டை ஆக்சைடு ரிமூவல் சிஸ்டம். ஆசிரியர் சொன்னார்.
அப்படித்தான், இதை நினைவில் வை. ஓப்பா உள்ளே வரும், செல்ஸ்க்கு போகும், CO2 செல்லிருந்து வரும், லங்ஸ் வழியாக வெளியேறும்.
So students, today we learned how breathing happens, how gases are exchanged, how oxygen and carbon dioxide are transported, and how the brain controls respiration.
Sir, now breathing feels like a complete transport system inside the body.
Exactly, your lungs, blood, hemoglobin, and brain all work together every second. That is why human physiology is so amazing.
Revise the diagrams of the respiratory system, mechanism of breathing, alveolus, oxygen dissociation curve, and transport of gases. These are very important for exams.
If this lesson helped you, subscribe to the channel and watch the next biology chapter explanation. Keep learning, keep questioning. Dear students, if you like simple study videos, chapter explanations, question and answer practice, and easy revision notes, please subscribe to our channel, save this playlist, and continue learning step by step. Your support motivates us to create more useful study-related videos. Thank you for watching, and keep learning.